Have you ever studied English for years and still freeze when someone actually talks to you? You understand grammar, you know the vocabulary, but when it comes to real conversation, your mind just goes blank. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Thousands of English learners face this exact same problem every single day. But here's the good news. Today, everything changes. Because I'm going to show you how to learn English the way native speakers actually use it, through real conversations that you can start using immediately. Hello, beautiful souls. This is Aurora, and welcome back to English with Aurora. If you're new here, this is your safe space to learn English in a way that feels natural, practical, and actually fun. And if you've been with me before, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here, ready to take your English to the next level. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you needed to use the present perfect continuous tense in a casual conversation? Probably never, right? But I bet you needed to order food at a restaurant, ask for directions, make a phone call, or introduce yourself to someone new. This is what real English looks like. This is what we're going to focus on today. Before we dive in, let me share something with you. I recently received a message from one of our community members, Maria from Brazil. She told me she had been studying English for 8 years. 8 years. She could write beautiful essays, she aced her grammar tests, but when she traveled to New York last summer, she couldn't even order a coffee without feeling nervous and confused. Does that break your heart? It breaks mine. Because English should open doors for you, not make you feel trapped behind them. So today, we're breaking down those walls. We're going to explore real conversations, real situations, and real phrases that actual English speakers use every single day. And I promise you, by the end of this lesson, you'll have practical tools that you can use immediately. Let's start with something everyone needs, ordering food at a restaurant. Now, you might think this is simple, but there are so many little phrases and expressions that textbooks don't teach you. When you walk into a restaurant, the host might say, "How many in your party?" This doesn't mean you're having a celebration. It simply means, how many people are with you? You can respond with just 2 or there are 4 of us. Once you're seated, your server will come over and might say, "Can I start you off with something to drink?" Notice that natural, conversational flow. They're not saying, "What do you want to drink?" That would be too direct, almost rude in English culture. Instead, they're offering to start your experience with a beverage. You could respond, "I'll have a water, please," or "Could I get an iced tea?" See how we use "I'll have" and "could I get." These are natural, polite ways to order. Here's where it gets interesting. Your server might ask, "Are you ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes?" This is your moment. If you need time, don't panic. Just say, "Could we have a couple more minutes, please?" That word couple means 2 or a few. It's so common in spoken English. If you're ready, you can say, "Yes, I think we're ready," or simply, "Yes, please." When you're actually ordering, here's a pro tip that will make you sound incredibly natural. Instead of just stating what you want, use phrases like, "I'll go with the salmon," or "I think I'll try the pasta." That phrase, "I'll go with," is used constantly by native speakers. It sounds decisive but casual at the same time. And "I think I'll try" shows you're making a choice, perhaps something new. Now, what if you have questions about the menu? Don't be shy. You can ask, "What do you recommend?" Or "What's good here?" You can also ask about specific dishes by saying, "What comes with the chicken?" Or "Does the salad come with dressing on the side?" That phrase, "on the side," means served separately, and it's incredibly useful. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're at a nice restaurant in California. The sun is setting, you're feeling confident, and you want to make a special request. Maybe you're allergic to something, or you just don't like certain ingredients. Here's how you handle it. You can say, "Could I get that without onions?" Or, "Is it possible to substitute the fries for a salad?" The key words here are without and substitute. These show you're politely asking for a modification. And here's something that trips up so many learners. When your server brings your food and says, "Enjoy your meal," what do you say back? Many students panic and say, "You too," even though the server isn't eating. It's adorable, but it can feel embarrassing. The natural response is simply, "Thank you." That's it. Simple, polite, perfect. Let's shift gears now and talk about something that makes many people nervous. Making phone calls in English. I know. You can't see the person's face, you can't use hand gestures, and sometimes the connection isn't great. But phone conversations follow patterns, and once you know these patterns, everything becomes easier. When you answer a phone call, in casual situations you can simply say, "Hello," with an upward intonation, like you're asking a question. If it's more formal, perhaps for work, you might say, "Hello, this is Aurora speaking," or "Aurora speaking, how can I help you?" When you're the one making the call, here's a powerful opening. "Hi, this is Aurora calling from English with Aurora. May I speak with John, please?" Let's break that down. You identify yourself, you state where you're from if relevant, and you politely ask for the person you need. That phrase, "may I speak with," is formal and polite. In more casual situations, you could say, "Is John there?" Or, "Can I talk to John?" Here's a real-world situation. You need to call a doctor's office to make an appointment. You might say, "Hi, I'd like to schedule an appointment with Dr. Smith." The receptionist might ask, "What's the reason for your visit?" You don't need to give details. You can say just a routine checkup or "I haven't been feeling well." They'll probably ask, "What day works best for you?" And you can respond, "Do you have anything available next Tuesday?" Or, "I'm flexible, what do you have open?" And here's something crucial. What if you don't understand something on the phone? Don't pretend you did. It's perfectly acceptable to say, "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." That phrase, "didn't catch that," is very natural. You can also say, "Could you speak a bit more slowly, please?" There's no shame in this. Even native speakers ask people to repeat themselves all the time. Now let's talk about something exciting. Travel situations. Imagine you've just landed in London, New York, or Sydney. You're at the airport and you need to navigate your way. At customs and immigration, the officer might ask, "What's the purpose of your visit?" You can say, "I'm here for tourism," or "I'm visiting family," or "I'm here for business." Keep it simple and direct. They might ask, "How long are you staying?" You respond with, "I'm staying for 2 weeks," or "just a week." If they ask, "Where are you staying?" you can say, "I'm staying at the Hilton Hotel," or "I'm staying with friends." These questions might feel intimidating, but remember, they're routine. The officers ask everyone the same things. Let's say you need to ask for directions. Here's a beautiful, polite way to start. "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the train station?" Notice that structure. "Excuse me" gets attention politely. "Could you tell me" is formal and respectful. "How to get to" is the key phrase for directions. The person might say, "Go straight for 2 blocks, then turn left." Here's what you need to know. Go straight means continue in the same direction. Blocks are the sections between streets in a city. Turn left or turn right are your basic directions. What if you don't understand their directions? You can say, "I'm sorry, I'm not from around here. Could you explain that again?" Or, "Would you mind writing that down for me?" People are usually happy to help, especially when you're polite and honest about needing assistance. Here's a travel situation that many people worry about. Checking into a hotel. You walk up to the front desk and say, "Hi, I have a reservation under the name Aurora." That phrase, "under the name," is standard for reservations. The receptionist will probably ask to see your ID and a credit card, and they might say, "You're in room 215 on the 2nd floor. Checkout is at 11 a.m. If you need something, you can ask, "What time is breakfast served?" Or, "Is there Wi-Fi in the room?" These simple questions make your stay so much more comfortable. Let's move into the workplace, because so many of you are learning English for professional reasons. Imagine you're starting a new job. Your colleagues will probably say, "Welcome aboard," or "Great to have you on the team." You can respond with, "Thank you, I'm excited to be here," or "Thanks, I'm looking forward to working with everyone." In meetings, you'll hear phrases like "Let's get started" or "Let's dive in." If you want to share an idea, you can say, "I'd like to suggest something," or "Can I add something here?" If you agree with someone, instead of just saying, "Yes," try, "I completely agree," or "That's a great point," or "Exactly, I was thinking the same thing." These phrases show engagement and professionalism. What if you disagree with something in a meeting? You never want to be rude, so instead of saying, "That's wrong," try, "I see your point, but have we considered another approach? Or, that's interesting, though I have a slightly different perspective. These phrases allow you to disagree while remaining diplomatic and respectful. Here's a workplace situation that makes many people anxious. Small talk. You're in the elevator with your boss or in the break room with colleagues. What do you say? The weather is always safe. Beautiful day today, isn't it? Or can you believe this rain? You can talk about the weekend. Any plans for the weekend? Or how was your weekend? On Monday mornings, you'll hear, how was your weekend? All the time. You can respond with, it was good, relaxing. How about yours? Or pretty quiet, just spent time with family. Let's talk about something that's becoming increasingly important. Video calls and virtual meetings. When you join a call, you might say, hi everyone, can you hear me okay? Or, sorry I'm late, I was having technical difficulties. If your connection is bad, you can say, I think I'm having connection issues, or you're breaking up, can you repeat that? That phrase, breaking up, means the audio is cutting in and out. Now here's something beautiful about real conversations that textbooks never teach you. Filler words and natural pauses. Native speakers don't speak in perfect, complete sentences all the time. We say you know, like, I mean, and so. These give us time to think. While you don't want to overuse them, using them occasionally makes you sound more natural and less rehearsed. For example, I was thinking, maybe we could try a different approach. Sounds more natural than I was thinking maybe we could try a different approach. Let's talk about expressing emotions and reactions, because conversation isn't just about exchanging information. It's about connecting. When someone tells you good news, don't just say good. Say, that's amazing, or I'm so happy for you, or congratulations. When someone shares bad news, show empathy. I'm so sorry to hear that, or that must be really difficult, or I'm here if you need anything. When you're surprised, you might say, really? Or no way? Or are you serious? When you're excited, you might say, I can't wait. Or I'm so excited. When you're disappointed, you might say, that's too bad, or what a shame. These emotional expressions make your English feel alive and genuine. Here's something powerful, asking for clarification without feeling embarrassed. If someone uses a word you don't know, you can say, what does that mean? Or, I'm not familiar with that term. If they're speaking too fast, could you slow down a bit? If you want to make sure you understood correctly, so just to clarify, you're saying that. And then paraphrase what they said. This shows you're engaged and want to understand correctly. Let me share another story with you. I have a friend named Carlos from Mexico. He moved to Canada for work, and he told me that the hardest part wasn't the grammar or the vocabulary. It was understanding the cultural context of conversations. For example, when someone said, we should hang out sometime, he thought it was a genuine invitation. He didn't realize that sometimes in English, especially in American English, people say this as a polite way to end a conversation without making concrete plans. Understanding these cultural nuances is just as important as understanding the words themselves. So how do you respond to, we should hang out sometime? If you want to make real plans, say, I'd love to. Are you free this weekend? If you want to be polite but non-committal, you can say, yeah, that would be great, without suggesting a specific time. Understanding these subtle social cues makes all the difference. Let's talk about apologizing and asking for forgiveness, because mistakes happen. If you bump into someone on the street, a simple sorry or excuse me works perfectly. If you made a mistake at work, you might say, I apologize for the error, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. If you're running late, you can text or say, I'm so sorry, I'm running about 10 minutes late. That phrase, running late, is used constantly. Notice we don't say, I'm coming late. We say, I'm running late. Here's something wonderful about English conversations. Compliments. When someone compliments you, in many cultures, people deflect or deny the compliment. But in English-speaking cultures, especially in the United States, the standard response is simply thank you. If someone says, I love your shirt, you say thank you. You can add, I just got it, or thanks, it was a gift. But the key is to accept the compliment graciously. And don't forget to give compliments too. I love your shoes, or you did a great job on that presentation, or your English is really improving. These simple statements build connection and positivity. Now let's talk about something many learners struggle with: ending conversations politely. You don't want to be rude, but you need to leave. Here are some natural ways to exit a conversation. Well, I should probably get going, or I don't want to keep you, or it was great talking to you, but I have to run. That phrase, I have to run, doesn't mean you're literally running. It means you need to leave. If you're on the phone, you can say, I'll let you go, or I should let you get back to what you were doing. Here's the truth that nobody tells you about learning English. Perfection is not the goal. Connection is the goal. I've met people who speak English with strong accents, who make grammar mistakes, who sometimes search for words, but they communicate beautifully because they're confident, they're genuine, and they're trying. And I've met people with perfect grammar who barely speak because they're so afraid of making mistakes. Every conversation you have in English, even if it's imperfect, is a victory. Every time you order food, make a phone call, introduce yourself, or help someone, you're proving that you can do this. You're breaking barriers that once seemed impossible. I want you to remember something. Every single native English speaker you admire, every fluent speaker you look up to, they all started exactly where you are now. They all had moments of confusion, embarrassment, and frustration. But they kept going. They kept trying. They kept speaking. And that's exactly what you're going to do. So here's my challenge for you today. I want you to use at least one phrase from this lesson in a real conversation. Order something at a coffee shop using I'll go with or could I get. Call a friend and practice your phone English. Introduce yourself to someone new using the structures we discussed. Take what you learned today and make it real. Remember, English is not just a subject you study. It's a tool you use. It's a bridge you build. It's a door you open. Every conversation brings you closer to fluency. Every attempt makes you stronger. Every mistake teaches you something valuable. You are capable of so much more than you realize. Your English journey is unique and beautiful, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep believing in yourself, because you're not just learning English. You're becoming the confident, capable, global citizen you were always meant to be. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this lesson helped you, I'd love to hear about it. And remember, I'm always here, cheering you on, believing in you, and celebrating every single step of your progress. Until next time, keep shining, keep learning, and keep speaking. This is Aurora, and I'll see you in the next lesson. You've got this.